How's it going, guys? Dragonstar Production here, back with another What If video, and in this video in particular, we're going to be celebrating the spooky season, and I just want to let you guys know, Happy Halloween. So with that said, let's get into What If Freddy Krueger was in Dragon Ball, or as I want to call it, a nightmare in Dragon Ball. Chi-Chi awakes from her slumber hearing the sound of her son's scream from the other room. She bursts the door open to see that Gohan was shivering in his bed as if he saw a monster. Chi-Chi assumes that Gohan is having nightmares about selling his father like he normally does, but Gohan looks quite different. He looks at his mom, and he has fear in his eyes.
It felt so real.
Chi-Chi definitely is concerned, but Gohan has explained that it's more to Chi-Chi. And then she actually realizes that these nightmares are definitely something else, not just a Cell and Goku nightmare. Chi-Chi gets Gohan back to sleep, but it doesn't take long for Gohan to fall back into, well, a different world. Gohan finds himself in what looked to be a boiler room. Gohan obviously realizes that he had to have been dreaming, but waking himself up here was easier said than done. Gohan attempts to try, but when he hears the voice of his dad, he can't. He has to go find him, as then if it's like panic sets in. So Gohan follows the voice of his father, but the voice just leads him to a dead end, as he then turns around as he sees a shadow that runs by. However, Gohan couldn't sense any ki here, as if Gohan didn't even have control of his body. He couldn't wake up, he couldn't sense ki, he couldn't do anything at this moment. However, before Gohan could even react further to the shadow, it charges at him, just to disappear right before touching him. Gohan then looks at his surroundings when he locates an exit. Gohan tries to fly, but then he looks down to see that there was a claw hand grabbing him by the leg. Gohan yanks his leg, causing it to get cut nearly to the bone, as Gohan makes it out of the exit, luckily waking up in a puddle of mix of, well, sweat and blood. This time, though, it wasn't Chi-Chi who found Gohan. It was his younger brother, Goten. Goten, walking in and seeing his bigger brother hurt, he kind of flipped out. He wasn't sure about what to do, as he then would ask what happened, who did it, or what's going on. Gohan, not wanting to scare his brother, goes to tell him something, as he then cut off by Goten, who says that it must have been the guy who he's been seeing in his dreams. He has a hat with a striped sweater and knife hands. Shockingly, Gohan would then hold Goten.
How do you know about that, Goten?
Goten shrugs, pulling his shirt up, showing Gohan a massive cut down his back, as he then says that he's been dealing with some similar nightmares. So the two brothers start discussing a plan about their livid dreams and how they can possibly fix this. They both realize that not sleeping isn't an option, and that this monster can only strike while they are sleeping. However, they realize not sleeping isn't an option, but neither is dying. The two brothers are going to ask help from probably the smartest person they know, that being Bulma. Gohan then tells Goten to go play with Trunks once they arrive, but don't mention anything about the dreams. Goten goes to tell his brother that he can't, these dreams are all he's thinking about, but Gohan had already walked off to go find Bulma. But when Gohan does find Bulma, she immediately is willing to help after Gohan explains. Bulma then has the idea that she has to record his dreams, so she starts building a machine to possibly do that. Meanwhile, Goten was filling Trunks in on his nightmares and what's been going on in his head. Trunks mocks Goten for being a scaredy cat, but deep down, Trunks was terrified. Scared to the point where he didn't want to go to sleep at night, and he hasn't even had a nightmare yet. However, the conversation was cut short between the two because Gohan tells Goten that it's time to go home. So with that said, Gohan and Goten would go home as they would then study, eat, then sleep, their typical routines that they would do when they got home. But sleep wasn't as easy as shutting their eyes here. It was actually Goten who eventually fell asleep first, as he then instantly opening his eyes in what assumed was a cave of fire. Goten runs down the cave walls as he then hears a knife screech echo through his ears. Goten covers his ears when a man with long arms then stretches across the cave and then starts running towards him. Goten tries to run, but he finds himself cornered. Goten trembles in fear as the man approaches, as he can't help but shake as he sees the evil smile, the sharp claws, and the menacing eyes coming from him.
The only thing to fear is fear itself.
As the clawed maniac then swats his hand at Goten, who barely dodges by crawling through his legs. Quickly though, the nightmare himself reacts by just disappearing. Goten, who was just running, realizes that he is no longer being chased, although Goten should have kept running, because when he stops out of nowhere, Goten is grabbed by a figure in the wall. Goten does everything in his power to escape when finally Goten then wakes up. But he does manage to pull out this person's hat through the nightmare to the real world. Goten, although Waking up, is severely injured, cut all over his body. This then leads to both Chi-Chi and Gohan charging into the room, finding Gohan in a bloody mess, basically having blood pulse out of his body. Chi-Chi reacts like any mother would, as Gohan then panics because he notices, well, the hat from the dream. Gohan picks up the hat as he then turns to his mom and his brother. Shockingly enough, when he does, Chi-Chi stutters.
Freddy?
Gohan then squats down at Chi-Chi and Goten and then asks,
Mom, you know whose hat this is?
Chi-Chi then tells Gohan to help Goten and then she'll explain everything. Chi-Chi begins telling the story of Freddy Krueger.
It was many years ago, back in my hometown of Fire Mountain. This horrible human named Freddy started taking the lives of the children in the town. Our town was scared. Although we were strong, Freddy was quite smart, and he used his brain to, well, trick a lot of the children to do things that he wanted them to do. It took it took y'all's grandfather, the Ox King, to set his house on fire, leading to the entire mountain being ablaze on fire. Whenever Roshi would put off the fire, we never found Freddy's body. We all thought that the pain was over, and for a while, it was. Until we started seeing him in our dreams, somehow more deadly than ever before. Eventually, the fear became normal, and Freddy disappeared. I guess, until now.
Gohan is floored by the story that his mother is telling him, and hearing it, it does give him an idea, though. He was going to ask fortune teller Baba. Gohan does this because he knows Baba has a lot of information on the other world, and by what Chi-Chi said in her story, Freddy should be dead. So Gohan flies off, leaving as Goten and Chi-Chi stay at home. Goten wanted to go, but Chi-Chi thought it would be best if he stayed with her. Goten, having no choice, agrees. However, these three aren't the only ones that are scared of Freddy. Back at Capsule Corp, Bulma hears the scream of Trunks. Both her and Vegeta jump up as they go into the room to find a spray of blood shooting from their son's bed. Vegeta doesn't even hesitate. He immediately leaves Capsule Corp to go locate the Dragon Balls, while Bulma tries to figure out what the hell just happened, as he then calls Chi-Chi to try to talk to Gohan about, well, some of those dreams that he was having. This then leads to Chi-Chi informing Bulma of Freddy Krueger, and Vegeta colliding with Gohan when they're flying. Vegeta lets Gohan know what happened to Trunks, while Gohan tells Vegeta how it happened. Vegeta then explains that couldn't have been the case. However, when Gohan actually breaks it down, Vegeta would explode in anger. Meanwhile, Gohan knew that now time was of the essence, and then he had to get to Baba because people were dying. Luckily, he does so pretty quickly, while Vegeta plans on meeting him there once he finds all the Dragon Balls. So with that said, Baba is actually fully aware of who Freddy is, as she reveals some higher powers in the demon realm felt the evil inside Freddy, giving him the powers of what they call a dream demon. Gohan asking how they could defeat him, she states that she doesn't really have an answer, just a possibility. She states that his powers may not work in the real world, and that actually gives Gohan an idea, and it registers in his head, thinking back to when Goten was actually able to pull out Freddy's hat from this nightmare. Gohan leaps from the ground as Vegeta crashes in front of him, asking what they were doing. Gohan would fill Vegeta in as they're flying back at Capsule Corp, and when they arrive, Bulma would actually jump straight down Vegeta's throat, asking why he isn't finding the Dragon Balls and why Trunks isn't revived yet. Vegeta just replies by throwing the bag on the table as the balls roll out, saying, "Don't you think before reviving Trunks, we should actually finish off Krueger first?" Bulma for once isn't thinking, as she just continues to scream at Vegeta, as then Gohan would finally chime in, saying that
He's right. The last thing we need is for Krueger to strike twice.
Bulma would then understand exactly what they were saying, and then questions what Baba had to say. Gohan drops the information and reveals his plan to actually drag Freddy into the real world. However, before they do so, Gohan wanted Chi-Chi and Goten there, just in case something happened. With that said, Chi-Chi and Goten arrive, meaning that Gohan can now fight the Dream Master in his own nightmare. Gohan closes his eyes as he falls asleep. Waking up in the dream world, Gohan finds himself in a familiar sight. The Cell games. At first, Gohan is taken back by this, believing that he's actually back there. When Cell, Perfect Cell that is, comes dashing in, gut-punching Gohan, causing him to fall to one knee, when his father appears right in front of him and once more, sacrificing himself for Gohan. Gohan screams, however, nobody is aware of what Gohan is doing, or even thinking, since Bulma couldn't finish her dream machine. Gohan couldn't help but cry. This is, well, the moment that he felt like he lost his father for good. However, this then actually changes because Cell would teleport back to Earth, and he slowly starts walking towards Gohan. Cell then starts to talk, but the voice that was coming out wasn't Cell's. This was actually enough to snap Gohan back into reality to fulfill the plan that he put in place. Gohan plays smart, playing it off like he doesn't know that it's Freddy inside of Cell. So when Cell gets of arm's length, Gohan actually grabs Cell, and he tries to wake up, but quickly he lets go as Freddy's claw comes gutting through Cell straight into his. Gohan flips out. He can barely gasp because the claw is deep in his stomach. Freddy then reveals himself as he slashes Gohan across his face, following him with a headbutt, leaving Gohan helpless.
Welcome to my world, bitch.
However, Freddy's saying this is quite ironic because when he goes for the killing blow, Gohan manages to use his ki and use his power rolling out of the way, grabbing Freddy by his arm, and just in time, everyone manages to wake Gohan up as he then drags Krueger into the real world. And before Freddy could even react, Vegeta drives his fist right across Krueger's jaw. Krueger goes flying, crashing outside of Castle Corp as Vegeta charges into Super Saiyan, and he beats the living crap out of Freddy. Freddy, though, somehow survives the attack, and then eats then, to everyone's surprise, stands up. Vegeta then goes for another punch, but Krueger weaves Vegeta's fist as he then cuts Vegeta's throat, not killing him, but definitely stunning him for sure, and definitely taking him out of the fight. Freddy then locks eyes on the one that got away. Freddy Krueger then rushes towards Chi-Chi, but Gohan was already losing control. His anger had already boiled, thinking that Vegeta was dead. Gohan once more tapped into Super Saiyan 2 as he blocks Krueger's from even laying a finger on his mother. Gohan doesn't get cocky like he did during the Cell games either. He defeated that demon, and now he's going to defeat another one. Gohan nails Krueger right in the stomach as he then kicks Freddy into the air. But before Freddy could fall back to the ground, Gohan unleashes a massive Kamehameha that completely swallows Freddy, leaving him in a blaze of fire once more. The blast eventually turns to smoke as Freddy Krueger is nowhere to be found. Gohan and the rest of the gang would then use the Dragon Balls to fix all the damage that Freddy has done, leaving this story with a happy ending. Unless... That, though, is where we're going to be leaving off this video, and it's probably not going to be getting a part 2 unless it does next Halloween, but if you do like this video, I do make other Dragon Ball videos, so please like this video, and subscribe to the channel, and there's a bell icon too so you can get alerts whenever I upload, as well as if you want to talk to me, I do have a Discord, and we do a lot of fun things over there besides just chatting. There's typical questions of the day to get typical talking happening, but there's also such things as game nights where we play Among Us and Jackbox and other things such like that, where we normally play every single night, and it's very competitive. No teaming, no cheating though. That'll get you kind of kicked out of the server, but that should be obvious though, right? But anyway, you guys should definitely consider that, or if you really want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon where you can go over there. You can actually suggest your own what if, and I will cover it on the channel. Also, you will be able to see all these videos that I upload very early, and I think that's a pretty big perk in itself. So if you guys want to do that, links are down in the description, as well as my Twitter, which I've been pretty active on as of late, so go follow me over there as well. This has been Dragonstar Productions, and I'll see you guys in the next video.